Just so you know what you're in for, and then I'll start. This will give people time to come in. Enjoy, please. This music video is absolutely amazing, and this is basically what you're going to be in for the next hour. As you can all tell, Michael Jackson never died, he just became Asian. Right, everyone? Are you enjoying Auchi so far?
Yeah.
Drunk, hungover, anyone?
Little bit sober.
Anything for me? That's fine. Everyone, welcome to my panel on Tokusatsu. Now, when I say Tokusatsu, I can guarantee you are not actually thinking of the convention down in England. There was a bit confusion, I heard. Tokusatsu is a play of Tokusatsu, what I'm here to talk about today. Hopefully what you think of, especially after you saw that video, I'm here to talk to you about Japanese live-action television which is focusing more on stunt actors and of the sci-fi genre, so basically Power Rangers. While everyone else at the convention is still watching cartoons at the age of 22, I'm still watching Power Rangers. I can't tell, if that's better or worse, but hey, we like what we like, don't we? Now, what I first wanted to say in my introduction, if we can move to the next slide, please. Yeah. Could you just play it in the program?
Yeah.
Don't actually have it in slideshow mode.
Alright. Sorry.
It'll also be easier to actually get the clips up as well, I think.
Trying to do it in slideshow.
But really, it's like, this is my second time at Auchinawa, if I even said that right. Sorry about the accent, everyone. But it's just one of these things that everyone puts in so much effort. We have gophers, we have Sephi, and everyone else in the committee. They're always really putting their heart and soul into this, and that's why I really wanted to do the convention. No one here really knows what Tokusatsu is, and I really wanted to do a panel just to really show my love for it to each and every one of you. Because, quite honestly, walking around with a gigantic belt, people, I don't know, probably thought I was Amish or something. I don't actually know. So anyway, I think, well, first of all, I should say that the clips aren't technically legal, but they fall under fair use, so please,
If it ain't available here, I don't care.
But really,
something that right now we're here for me to buy.
What Tokusatsu covers is that it's a very, very action-packed piece of television. I absolutely love it. As you saw, there's punching, kicking, really, really ridiculous rubber suits. Not quite like Hard Gay the other day, but just as ridiculous, really. And I also really love the, just the storylines. Even though the show is essentially marketed to the genre's marketed to children in Japan, because Tokusatsu's been around for 60, 70 years now, it's been one of these things that's almost been passed down from parent to child. Parents will show their children, their favorite superheroes. And because these shows have been running for some cases 35, 40 years, that there's a really strong family bond and a really strong tie of just Japanese culture when you talk about Tokusatsu in Japan. Now, my first experience, which I'm sure, again, a lot of you would have the exact same one, but in America, 1993, I grew up with my television. That was my mom and dad. It was my carer, my brother, my sister. It was my frisbee. I can't believe I killed that dog. But yes, in '93, we've all grown up with superheroes. But there's one of these things that they always kind of hid in a telephone booth. They always had, their shirt underneath another shirt. When Power Rangers came on, I remember it was just these kids in a youth center, and it was kind of cool. These were teenagers. You looked up to teenagers, but then out of nowhere, they just kind of, it's morphin' time, and kind of reached into their ass, and that gave them their special powers. And this is one of these things. It was like, again, I was a kid at the time, and bright colors, gigantic robots, explosions, shiny objects. What more does a kid need, really? I was a simple kid, maybe, but explosions and explosions. What more does a kid want? So that Christmas, it must have only been about 15, 20 episodes into the series, but I remember coming down Christmas morning, and my big present that year opened it up, and it was the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord.
Oh.
That was my favorite toy as a kid. It was expensive, and as my parents told me, they got the very last batch Megazord. What happened in 1993 in Rochester, New York, was that they were basically sold out by October. There were no more actual runs until either Christmas Eve or in January. So it was very, very lucky that they even managed to get this thing for me. That just shows how much of an impact Tokusatsu's had on the West, which I will be talking about later. So, without further ado, Henshin! Next slide, please. And as I was saying, the action is what draws anyone to Tokusatsu more than anything else. The choreography is sublime, absolutely wonderful. Of course, the explosions. They originally what Tokusatsu generally was is that this was before CGI, this was before decent acting, you know, this was before much of anything on television was really invented. So what they had to do, you couldn't actually have a CGI giant monster. What you had to do was that you had to kind of use paper mache and kind of make a very kind of basic monster mask, and then look very threatening as you kind of stampede around a Thunderbirds-like set. It saved money, and I'll talk more about the actors in an actual bit. But yeah, the fast pace and the poses especially. If you've ever seen an episode of Power Rangers, they don't actually talk like they would in a soap. It's not. What was that noise? What was that noise? My God! There's a monster over there! A monster is attacking the city! We've got to stop them from destroying the abandoned district of Angel Grove! What the fuck was even up with that? I mean, seriously, it's like the entire city was abandoned. There was a building destroyed in every episode.
Why didn't people just move?
Credit crunch, financial collapse.
But they're always like they built warehouse. Mind you, where I work, there's loads of there's us, like 2 call centers, and the rest are all like abandoned, so we're stomping around our place. We're going to be like perfect, legitimate attack point.
What about
those?
those?
British coast, but they.
Do you get giant monster insurance?
I will have to ask the security guards about that.
We just think if you're going to create a giant monster, you would put it somewhere where there are people.
Next slide, please.
Oh.
And again, I would love to tell you about the acting, because especially when you look at Power Rangers, it's very cheesy and really, really terrible. But as the show progressed, they were able to afford better and better actors instead of just relying on kung fu artists that they dragged off the streets.
And they went to New Zealand.
And it's just one of these things. Suit actors, especially in every single Japanese series, they are extremely talented. I mean, if you thought standing around in 8 hours in a Chewbacca costume was bad, imagine the guys who were actually inside the Megazord outfits holding gigantic metal plates and rubber, and you have to really admire these guys for really having a lot of fun at their job and, you know, managing to somehow not die in all that heat. And on the other side of things, in Japan, you have a lot of... Well, every kid wants to become the next Kamen Rider, every kid wants to become the next Power Ranger. In Japan, that is how a lot of famous celebrities start their careers. So looking at Kamen Rider Kabuto, the actor for him is now in soaps, and he's one of Japan's sexiest men apparently as well, and I guess that also helps your career when you're that sexy. But also, Power Rangers also helps revitalize actresses' careers. In Engine Sentai Go Under, an ex-porn star ended up becoming the main villainess of the series, which, if you think about it, also brought in the male demographic because she was in a really, really kind of revealing dress the entire way through. Well, I guess that appeals to kids.
Also, I don't know who's heard of Johnny Young Bosch, who does like Bash the Stampede and such.
I was going to say that, yes.
Yeah, well, his first big role was in Power Rangers, and it was the voiceover experience he got from that led him to get Bash the Stampede, which led him into the voiceover
My next
industry.
point, thank you, assistant number 2. Yeah. But yeah, Adam Park, I mean, he's one of these guys I really want to meet because he loves his job. It's a completely ridiculous concept. Next slide, please. It's just that kind of thing. It's really, really stupid. Comedy is the essence of any program. If you take yourself too seriously, then it gets really, really stupid when you get Twilight fangirls and it's, oh! Or if you're too comedic, then when you suddenly have, let's say, a miscarriage in your webcomic, things get a bit...
Funny story, we were talking about that.
But yeah, you really need a good balance, and that's why I love Tokusatsu. They know when to be completely serious, they know when to be completely off the walls. I would look for some good examples. Car Ranger, which became Power Rangers Turbo, which kind of destroyed the series, quite frankly. Car Ranger was a piss-take series. There was one episode in particular where a monster, an Italian chef, his evil plan wasn't to destroy Angel Grove, or whatever Japanese city, the generic Japanese city they were in.
There was a traveling car mad, if I remember rightly enough.
Yeah.
His plan was to bake the Rangers into a gigantic pizza. He throws them into a microwave, closes the door, but there's actually an opening at the top of the microwave where he throws in all the toppings to get the... So they never actually ever think to
How
jump
do
out.
microwaves work?